Howdy all, so the new build is finished. I'm going to be showing that on our main channel. Later I'll take you around there. We've got these guys doing a few little jobs for our cactus. This is going to be for a cactus stand. We're going to put some of the San Pedro cactus on. He's doing a bit of steel work over there. I released a little vlog yesterday in regard to my car tax, and I've also released a vlog before about paying land tax here in Thailand. I'm going to talk about another tax in a moment. But if you want a conclusion to that vlog, I actually did get the car fixed. It's going to be at the end of this vlog. I'll update anybody that cares about that. As ever on this channel, these are just my personal opinions and experiences, and the opinions and experiences of people that comment on this channel. Don't take consultancy from me. I'm not a legal professional in any capacity. I'm just a dude in a hat winding down a beautiful evening here in rural Thailand. And today I want to talk about the hot topic that I've been asked about many times over the past few months especially. It's tax, isn't it, guys? Everyone's talking about tax now. Everybody's a tax advisor these days. You will notice on this channel that I never actually share my opinion on visas and tax or what I think you should do with your visa or with your tax. Like, it's just not that kind of channel. I share my personal experience, but I wouldn't say that I'm a YouTuber that's here to be kind of like the info desk on moving to Thailand. Like, I really don't know what visa you should be on, and I don't know about your personal tax situation either. But I can share with you what I do in terms of tax, and I think that's quite heavily linked with the idea of working in Thailand. And so I do want to highlight, for those that don't know, it's quite difficult to work in Thailand. Like, if you don't have work authorization, if you don't have a work permit. There's like a giant pack of dogs behind me here. This is just kind of typical. You can't walk anywhere. My dogs will follow me everywhere. So for those that don't know, in Thailand, you can't just kind of rock up here and just work. There's a lot of restricted occupations here. There's a lot of jobs that you shouldn't do, that are only reserved for Thais to do. You can get into a lot of trouble. You can get deported here. Many people often do get deported here. It's in the news quite a lot. And working is a very kind of broad definition as well. Like, they look at it like anything, even volunteering could be perceived as doing something for some form of remuneration. Again, head over to the legal channels for all that legal stuff. That's not what I'm here to share with you today. I'm just sharing my personal experience. What I think is also important to note from my personal experience is I've always worked for big companies. Whether it be my own companies that I registered some years ago at an English school and issued myself a work permit, or I worked for Minor, which is a kind of a big company, or I've worked for various English schools as well and issued different work permits. That is a kind of very clear and simple way. What I haven't seen as very clear and simple in this country is, what do YouTubers do? Because YouTubers are making money, of course. There's money being made with sponsorship, with ad revenue and whatnot, and it is unclear to me and a lot of people the route to how a YouTuber, somebody who's only doing YouTube, would go about getting work authorization in Thailand. Of course, there are ways which I'll go into in a moment, but and also speaking from experience, when we first started our YouTube channel, we used to get like a lot of keyboard warriors like jumping on and saying, you're going to get deported, you know, we're going to report you, we're going to deport you. And I think it's pretty sick to threaten that to somebody, especially like YouTubers that have got very small channels, that, especially if they've got kids, and they use the YouTube as a side income in a place where many mothers and fathers are not legally allowed to work in order to support their family. They're not allowed to like drive a tuk-tuk or do something like that. They're not able to get the work permit because it's quite a complicated situation that really in the end requires money, and not everybody's got money, and that doesn't mean they should be deported and separated from their children. And you get a lot of keyboard warriors like jumping on like you're going to get deported and threatening and like this kind of sick, well, I think it's kind of like sick behavior. So I see it somewhat empathetically from the YouTuber's point of view. They're unable to get a work permit because they don't have enough money, they haven't got a Thai company. Thousands and thousands of people are YouTubing online all the time and making money from that, making money from the ad revenue, and from, not a lot, may I add, they're not making a lot of money. And even the money they make, it wouldn't be justified to open a company because the revenue is just not that high enough. So they're in a catch-22 situation where they're seeing many other people around, like on YouTube, and they're in this situation where it's quite scary, I think, especially if you're a parent. It's quite scary to be in that situation. So to have people jump on and be like, we're going to get you deported. It reminds me a little bit of like reporting people to the Gestapo in some way. What's it got to do with you? Like, what's it your business to do that to somebody? Especially in certain circumstances, like I've said, with kids and whatnot. I think it's wrong to threaten people that way. Let the law sort it out when the law is ready to sort it out. And so that's the one side I see of it. But the other side I see of it, of course, there's many expats and foreigners here that have gone through the right routes and they've issued a work permit themselves. They've started a company, and that involves like paying Thai staff. It involves paying tax every month. So when they see YouTubers making money and then they've had to go to the route, it creates a bit of animosity. And then also from a Thai perspective as well, the law is the law. The law is designed here, from what I understand, to protect Thai people and Thai jobs. So there's some debate there to whether, you know, being a YouTuber is taking a Thai job or not. I guess it really relies on what you would film. I don't think I would hire a Thai to come in and film my family and my personal life, which is kind of where my main focus is in my content. But that's all up for debate. And it's quite a tricky one. It's quite a tricky one because there's a lot of confusion out there. And sometimes to meet the minimum requirements is quite difficult. Now I'm going to share with you my experience and what it is I do to mitigate this issue. But first, if you enjoy this content, if you get something from this content, if you find it useful in any way, and you're in the market for a VPN, check out my link below for Surfshark VPN. The code word is Naked Guru. It's going to get you 4 months extra free, and it's a money back guarantee, so if it doesn't work out for you, you can get your money back. Surfshark will give you access to Netflix libraries if you're bored of your library at home. Change your location up in the right hand corner, and you'll get access to various libraries from around the world, and this will increase your viewing options. Also, use Surfshark VPN to avoid price discrimination. Sometimes when we search from one location, prices are different to if we search from another location. This is in particular for hotels, car rentals, and flights. Change your location in the top right hand corner and check that you're getting the most competitive price on the internet. So I think I've described, for some people that don't know the kind of situation in Thailand regarding working, I've described that. And if I miss something, please do fill me in the comments. And I've also tried to highlight both sides of the story. You can see it from, you know, one side, the people that are angry about the situation with YouTubers, and from the other side where YouTubers are in this kind of like weird predicament. And I know I'd come from a full-time corporate job, so I was a senior manager for a 5-star hotel, and I only came because of COVID. I wasn't planning to be any YouTuber. I wasn't planning to live here in rural Thailand. I wasn't planning to build our house here. I wasn't planning for a second kid. And so right at the start, the rules and the regulations of this were quite unclear, like probably more unclear than they are now, about this situation. And so in the beginning, we really didn't know what to do, and we were receiving like a lot of threats, and like there's a lot of nasty people out there, like there's a lot of justifiably angry people out there as well, like whatever. I do see both sides of the situation, but for me it was important to make sure we were legal, because the threat that's hanging over your head, say in 1 minute they try to enforce this kind of thing, they say, all right, okay, we're going to enforce this working without a permit, and we're going to deport these people. I think that would do a lot of damage in terms of reputation of Thailand. I think it'll leave a lot of questions open as well, like if you're a travel vlogger, are you able to, you know, shoot while you're here? You know, how do you distinguish between them? Is it only people on long-term visas that are not allowed to, you know, like tax residents that are not allowed to stay here and be YouTubers and film and stuff? I think it would open up a whole can of worms. But if you did decide that, you're in risk of them being deported. And for me, like it was too big a risk to take with my kids. You know, because it's not like me wanting to stay in Thailand. Everybody depends on me here, like, so, and I mean, like, there's a lot of things that I must be here to take care of everybody, you know, and I want to be here with my kids, obviously. So it was important for me to register a company, and I have a company here. It's a superfoods company, so some people may have seen it in the pinned comment and things like that. We worked with like lots of local farmers to produce very unique products. Those that watch the channel a long time, you'll know that sometimes I go on and on about I have a sugar intolerance, and I bought every honey from all around Thailand, and I couldn't find one which wasn't setting off my reaction to sugar. Now, I haven't been able to talk in detail about this because the libel laws in Thailand, you've got to be very careful what you say. But what I did do is work with a local beekeeper, and we developed our own system where we actually lab test the honey as well, and we bottle that up. And originally it was just for me, but then I put it on sale on Lazada, and it became a best-selling honey. We also do ceremonial cacao. Thais produce a lot of cacao in this country, and cocoa, but very few of them have gone through the process of producing ceremonial cacao. Very few. So we worked very closely with a cacao farmer in the north with a very unique bean. Most cacao suppliers use a bean called the Chumpon 1. We have a very unique bean which has a high content of theobromine, which is what you want for ceremonial cacao. And we go through something called a cold process. So we produce the cacao and the ceremonial cacao under a cold process, which maximizes the active compounds in the cacao, which I also sell out through Lazada. I mean, we have a range of like 25 to 30 products. So in my case, we use the company and YouTube together as one kind of entity, a registered company, and then we issued a work permit from that company. So, and my work permit, it specifies a marketing manager, but it also specifies YouTuber. And so then back to the point of tax, which is what people ask me about. Like, they get like a bit pissed off when I do a video which talks about land tax or car tax, because what they want to hear is about personal income tax. And so my short answer to that is we put all the income tax through the company. So it's one way to do it. And then you've got a TIN number. I have a TIN number that I can use to show that my tax is all up to date on all the income that we make, and that's it. And I'm not recommending this option to everybody. I'm just sharing with you how we do it. Because I'm on a marriage visa, we have 2 Thai staff, so we only actually need 2 full-time Thai staff. If you're on a non-B visa, it's a little bit more complicated, and I'm not going to go into it because I'm not really here to tell you what you should do or info on things that I've not done. I can tell you that I have 2 Thai staff, and that's enough to issue a work permit for me. And there are expenses. It costs every month, and we're not wealthy. We're not like super rich. We're not millionaires, so we have to budget, and we have to be careful what we spend, and we have to plan for the future as well. You know, I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm a Tesla shareholder. So, I mean, I see Tesla and Bitcoin as my retirement. Sometimes I call the Cottage an Ark. You know, people that watch this channel know that. And the thing about the Ark is that you need constant food. People are going to live on the Ark, where you've got to have constant food coming in. You know, the Ark has got to go places somehow. It's got to have power. And so you need something generative. And for me, as you know, I'm not a big entrepreneur. Like I say, I'm just like small scale entrepreneur. The businesses that I've done, I've had a jazz lounge, an English school, and then my superfoods company. As an entrepreneur, like I'm always thinking about how can I keep the Ark going? How can I keep my children, you know, in the education that I want them to have? And you know, I can take care of everybody, take care of the wife, take care of everybody here. So that's just my insight into this. It's just my honest insight. How will it turn out? I'm going to keep you updated on this channel. I will talk more on this as well. Like, I'll see these initial questions or comments that come back, and I'll take some of those and I'll answer those, and I'll make a little bit more detail. And there's a little bit more to the story, which you're going to see over on the main channel. That'll be coming out probably next week sometime, where I can fill you in on the part 2 of this little adventure. And I will say, if you are interested in our honey, you want to try it out, and you're based in Thailand, become a member of this channel, and then send me your address, and I'll send you a bottle of honey. Hi guys, so catch up on my last vlog. I mentioned a little bit about my car, and I'm at the garage again. Here we are with the car. It's funny, on YouTube, now I understand why a lot of YouTubers, they seem to know everything about everything. And they don't like to admit on camera, many of us, that we don't know something, we don't know about something. And I can see why they do it, because when you do actually start saying the things that you don't know, there's a lot of people that will offer friendly advice, you know, like how to fix the car and what's up with it. But there's a lot of people that jump on your back and they're like, oh, I don't know anything about cars, you know, what an idiot. And for me, like, I think you can't know everything about everything, guys, you know what I mean? Like, as a musician, like I'd like to say I know a bit about music and a bit about computers and things like that. But, you know, I don't know much about cars. I know enough to keep my tires inflated. I know enough to keep the water and the oil up to date and all that. But when it comes to like more complex things, like what they're going to do now underneath, which is to do with the steering, I don't know. I admit I don't know. But in my previous vlog, I think admitting that, a lot of people kind of jumped on my back about it. Hey ho, this is the Naked Guru channel, and I made a commitment to be honest. Yeah, I don't know shit all about cars. The other thing that came up as well is I mentioned that underneath there was a problem with the cars, with the steering. What I didn't mention is that we were kind of waiting for parts to have that fixed. I think some people interpreted that as if I was going to continue to drive the car while it had this problem. The problem is, when you go over about 80 kilometers an hour, it will shake like this. And so we are actually just waiting for the part. The parts aren't always readily available everywhere you go, especially in rural garages. And so on the last vlog, when I mentioned to everybody what was going on, my intention was not to continue driving the car like this. I had a few people comment like, don't spend the money and get it fixed, and don't drive like that, it's dangerous, and I agree. But you've got to wait for the parts, and from what I've been told by the mechanics, it's a problem, but it's not a serious problem. It's something that's quite common, I think, on these cars. So this mechanic actually is saying that it's just this one that's loose, but the other mechanic told me that it's this thing here and this here, which is the problem. Usually I wouldn't vlog about something so trivial like this, but you guys seem super interested in it in the comments, and there's a lot of you that know about cars. There's a lot of good advice, by the way, that I got from you guys. Some friendly, genuinely friendly advice, not like criticism. And so I appreciate that always. So I thought I might as well just carry on and vlog this story. So it's this here, and then this is the issue. This is the issue. And he said this is broken in two parts. And he said you have to change. So yeah, he's giving the same diagnosis as the previous mechanic, where we're waiting for the parts. We want to get two or three opinions. It's a good idea here, because then you can get two or three prices as well, and you can make sure you're getting the best price. The other garage is going to confirm with us if and when they have the parts, and then here we're getting a second opinion. They said when you do change that on either side, you have to change it as a pair. These two here. So I don't know what I'm looking at, guys. There's a lot of these little garages dotted around, so it is easy to get the two or three quotes in for a job like this. As I say, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at, so I need multiple people to look it over, including Damel's brother, who really knows a lot about cars. Again, when it comes to like the water and the oil, I'm good with that. But something like this, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at. I wouldn't know that is loose. As soon as he saw it under there, he's like, oh yeah, the cow carb needs replacing. So he said, this is the one you got to change. And he said, the previous guy said we have to replace this too, but he's saying you don't. So it's a different opinion to the other guy. These are our daily challenges, guys, in rural Thailand, especially with cars. When it comes to cars, there's always some issue. Whether it's the car or it's the songtail that we have. In the old days, it was Betty Blue, my old car. So there's always something. My experience with garages here as well is they probably make more money on doing the car wash. They charge like 400 baht to do the car wash here, inside and out. And when it comes to fixing cars, the major money goes on the parts, and then they add a little fee on top, which is usually like 200, 300, 400 baht, depending on what the job was. So actually they can make more money through car washing here. This is quite a new addition to this garage. They brought it in obviously to keep the lads busy while there's no business, because most of the day maybe a couple of cars come through here every day to get fixed, but for the car wash, well, I can never get into the car wash. I've never been able to get in the queue for the car wash. So he's actually going to take us back to the house. We're going to be going with this guy. He's going to fix it up, and he's got to order the parts. It's going to take some time. So we leave the car now, we jump in with him and head back to the house.